We put this, what we call the daily flow, into play. And she was actually able to go from zero, brand new business idea, to $15,000 in sales in her very first month of business. She then went on to have her first $30K month just 4 months later.
If you're posting content and you're not getting the engagement that you want, it's okay.
Yeah.
100% okay.
Absolutely.
Here's a little secret that every top marketer knows and nobody teaches. Are you ready for it? Would you like to get more customers from social media using a strategy that almost nobody talks about and that you can implement for free? As digital marketing strategists who have been behind the scenes for a lot of different companies and coaches over the years, we've had the privilege of generating millions in sales online. Yeah. And when we look at where those customers come from, the majority of those sales have actually come from social media. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through a simple step-by-step strategy that you can use to maximize your social media efforts and potentially get even more customers than ever before. And the good news is that you could do this without having to, number one, be on social media all day.
That's right.
Can I get an amen? Number two, you can do this without having to do any cheesy TikTok dances. Have you ever seen those where like people are doing the points and all that stuff? If you've ever done that, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be offensive, but guess what? If you don't want to do that, you don't have to.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to, by all means, go for it. But you don't have to.
You don't have to. Ariel and I have never had to do it. The multi-million-dollar clients that we have the opportunity to work with, they don't do it. So you don't have to do it either if you don't want to. You can also use the strategy without having a reel that goes viral. And you don't even need a lot of followers or fans to make this work for you. I can tell you guys that some of the most successful businesses that we work with who implement this strategy can make millions of dollars and have less than 1,000 followers on Instagram. Yep. So guess what? That is no longer any sort of barrier that is standing between you and your success. So what we want to do is we want to walk through this process step by step and really talk about this, because as it relates to entrepreneur couples, if one of you is in charge of the social media part of your business and you implement this and it works for you, just think about and imagine how much of a hero you're going to look to your partner.
Yeah, that's right. Because typically within the relationship, one of you is in charge of the marketing, the sales, the social media. That's typically what we see with a couplepreneur dynamic, we would call it.
Absolutely.
And again, if you're the one that's in charge of the social media marketing, or maybe it's something new that you're kind of adding into your marketing strategy, and your partner sees you spending all of your time there, but you're not getting the results that you want, then guess what? That's when it can cause your partner to feel a little bit of, draw some false conclusions, we would say, like social media doesn't work. Why are you wasting your time? And it can cause some tension in the relationship. Right. So not only are we here to help you build a relational dynamic that allows you to get the results that you want in your life and in your business, but also to make sure that the effort that you're already putting into your business gets you the results, and it creates an even stronger trust between you and your significant other in the process.
That's right.
Right. So because if you're using social media and you're not getting the clients that you want from it consistently, it's probably not your fault.
No.
Because have you noticed a decrease in engagement? Have you noticed a decrease in maybe sales at the moment, right? Well, the truth is a lot of the strategies, especially when it comes to social media that people are teaching these days, are outdated based on today's market and based on what's happening right now. Right. Or you may have been taught some social media strategies that sound really good when they're taught by an Instagram influencer that already has like thousands or millions of followers, or maybe has viral reels, but they don't have that tangible evidence that it's actually translating into sales, right? And that's what we all want. So that's why today what we want to do is kind of pull back the curtain on what it looks like to actually get clients from social media on a consistent basis, and how to turn that like little effort that you're putting into social media already into something that allows you to reach your goals for 2024. All right.
And what's working right now is a process that we call the daily flow.
Yes.
The daily flow. Now, if you're listening to this and you're wondering, what in the world is the daily flow? Essentially, the daily flow is a process that Ariel and I have developed over the years, just based on seeing what works and adapting to the changes in the market. And really what it is a 4-step process that either you or your team member can implement using just a laptop or a cell phone that allows you to leverage your social media to get as many qualified customers as possible. Now, the good news is that you can implement this with even the busiest of schedules.
That's right. In fact, for those of you who don't know, part of my previous history was I was an organic marketing coach. So I did this stuff for a living, right? And with that said, I had a client that when we first started working together, her name was Heather. And when we first started working together, she was wanting to launch a brand new business. At the time, she was a very busy mom. Like she had multiple young kids. I think they were all under the age of 3. And she wasn't really sure how to build this brand new business from scratch. She saw a live video that I had done specifically. And she saw that live video and she realized that, she booked a call with me. And she realized on that call that she was on that call with me to potentially work with me because of social media. Right? And even with the little pockets of time that she had, that's when she started to realize that maybe social media could actually work for her too. And so what we started doing is we worked together. We put this, what we call the daily flow, into play. And she was actually able to go from zero, brand new business idea, to $15,000 in sales in her very first month of business. She then went on to have her first $30K month just 4 months later. Now, all of this was done completely organically. She wasn't paying for any advertising. She wasn't doing TikTok dances. She wasn't doing any of that. What she was able to do was really build a social media machine that generated her clients on a consistent basis, and eventually get to a point that she was able to hire that out to other people and use social media as a primary way for her to grow her business. She's now made well over $1 million in about 2 years within her business. And again, it was all based on this strategy. I don't even know when she started doing advertising, but it was well after she hit the 7-figure mark. All right. So that's what we want to walk through with you today, is this 4-step process. We call it the daily flow, and it is now followed by many of the couple-owned businesses that we have the privilege of working with today.
That 4-step process is broken down into words that all start with P. So we want to make it easy for you. Of course, if you're listening and you want to take notes, we encourage that as well. But each step of the 4-step process starts with the letter P, as in Peter, to help it be very memorable for everybody who is tuning in. What is step 1 of the 4-step process? Behind curtain number 1, Ariel, what you got?
So step number 1 of the daily flow is to post. Now, this is different than what you may have heard or what others may say. Basically, what we're talking about here is posting your content for the day. But there's a specific way to do it, which I'm going to get into here. But what this is, and the reason why this is step number 1, is because I actually had a mentor say this to me once, that when it comes to online business, you don't have like a storefront that you're opening up, right? You don't have a storefront where you can flip on the open sign and people know to come in and buy from you.
Right.
But when you have this online business, what you do have is a social media profile, and basically posting a piece of content is like you flipping on your open sign. Right? It's like, hey, I'm open for business. Here's some value, and you're giving value in exchange for, potentially somebody working with you down the road.
Well, one thing I also want to say too is where this fits when we talk about the daily flow.
Yes.
This 4-step process is a process that you could do in succession.
Yes.
So the very first part is, like, if you open up social media, what do you do first? The very first thing that you do is you make a post, but you do it in a way that is different than what probably a lot of gurus and a lot of experts are teaching you.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people get very bogged down by what to post or how to post, or they hear all these gurus say there's all these different frameworks and all these different things that they should use. When in reality, I want to kind of give you guys an example here. So we had a client, and what they were launching a brand new offer. Okay. And I remember when we were flushing out this offer with them, they weren't quite sure what to post to really communicate the value that they offered with this new program. And one of the things that we asked them in a workshop that we did inside of our Couplepreneur Accelerator program was, what does your ideal client need to know about you in order to buy from you? Like, what do they need to know before they're ready to like pull out their credit card and buy from you? And this particular client said, they need to know, like, my clients need to know that I've been where they are and I'm on the other side of it. Meaning I've been where they are in terms of the pain that they're experiencing. Specifically, she was a real estate agent, and she was moving into real estate coaching. And she was like, they need to know that I've been where they are, where work is taking over their life. And they feel like they own, they started this real estate business, but it's become more of a job versus the business that gives them the freedom that they want. So she's like, they need to know that I've been there, but they also need to know that I'm on the other side of it. Okay. And they need to know that I've created the freedom and I have more time with family and I'm running a business that gives me the things that I want and the fulfillment that I want in my life as well. Okay. So that's what she said to the question of what do they need to know to buy from you?
So everybody listening,
Yeah.
when it comes time for you to do a post, you want to think of the answer to that question.
Yes.
What do your ideal, most qualified clients or customers need to see or know about you in order to buy from you?
That's right. And so what we did was we took that, right? They needed to know that she's been where they are and she's on the other side of it. We took that and she wrote a post about her story, about how she went from feeling completely burnt out and overworked and, missing really important experiences. And actually it was affecting her health to then being on the other side and having an amazing freedom giving business.
Yeah.
Right. And she wrote this post and that post got, I think, more engagement than ever before. And it actually got so many people coming out of the woodworks, not only supporting her in her journey, but also generated interest in their new offer, in her and her husband's new offer. So when I say that posting content is maybe a little different than what you may have thought of, what I encourage you to do is just like what Kyle said, is number one, when it comes to posting, this is a daily flow. So ideally you would post daily. Now, if you're short on time, I would suggest just 3 to 5 times a week. 3 to 5 times a week, if you can flip on that open sign, basically give some value to your audience, show people that you're here, then that's a great place to start. So 3 to 5 times a week. And then again, just think about what does your ideal client need to know to buy from you, right? Maybe you're like our clients who said that they need to know that they've been where they are and that they have now what they want. Maybe it's your story. Right? Maybe your ideal clients need to know that there's some proof behind what it is that you're saying and that you can actually get them the results that you're promising. So maybe that's through showing some client testimonials or telling some client stories. Maybe your ideal clients need to know that you align with their values. In fact, this is a kind of dumb example. There's a very, I would say, luxury pet boutique in town that we buy our dog food from. It's more expensive. I go out of my way to buy from them. It's a little bit further away. But I buy from them because they align with my values, right? Because I know that they're natural, they have high quality products, things like that. So maybe it's similar for your clients. Maybe they need to know that you align with the values that they have as well. So that could look like creating a post around, why did you start your business? What's the gap that you're filling in the market that you didn't see anybody else filling? And what are the values that you want to showcase through what it is that you do, right? These are just some examples, but think about what your ideal client needs to know to buy from you and create a post about it.
And just to answer some of the questions that I know I had when I was still getting privy to the social media world, because for those of you that are still getting to know Ariel and I, she is an organic marketing genius. I come from a background of managing marketing agencies, managing marketing departments, running hundreds of thousands of dollars in paid advertising, doing email marketing promotion. So in my mind, organic marketing was always, or content marketing specifically, it was always just like a pain in the butt.
Yeah, he was very skeptical.
I was very skeptical
for a while.
Yeah, it like to me, I'm probably resonating with a lot of people who might be listening to this, and I was like, man, social media is such a waste of time. It's so like, come on. But as we'll get to it a little bit later today, man, what Ariel was talking about could literally be the difference between having $100,000 a month or having just, just barely getting by. And we've seen this over and over again, because if you use social media the right way and you are making a post that is based on resonating deeply with what your clients need to see, it could drastically increase the likelihood of you surpassing and smashing your revenue goals this year. Yeah. So one of the things I did want to share on this is we all know that we buy from people that we know, like, and trust, right? Yeah. So know, like, and trust. Well, essentially what your posts on social media are, it's not really a lead generating tool as much as it is a nurturing tool.
Yes.
And this may set a lot of people free, because if you're sitting there posting on social media and you're like, man, I don't have a lot of leads. Here's the beautiful thing. You are taking whatever organic audience you have or any email audience you have, and if you direct that attention towards your posts, what you are doing is you are nurturing those leads, and you're getting those leads to know you and like you and trust you more. Yeah. Now, if you had to break this down, you can literally manufacture know, like, and trust. Yeah. It's a formula. Knowing is created by frequency. So the more frequent you post, the more people will know you. So that's a check number one. Liking you. How do you get somebody to like you? How do you get someone to like you is you show them through your content that you have values that they agree with.
Yeah.
So if you think about people that you guys like, if you're listening to this, like just think of someone you really like. 10 out of 10 times, that person that you really like shares the values that you have.
Yeah.
So how do we get people to know you? Frequency. How do you get people to like you? Affinity. You share the values that you have an affinity for it, and you will naturally attract people who have that same affinity.
And those are the best clients to work with.
100%. And at number 3, trust. How do you get people to trust you? Credibility. Yeah. So if you have frequency, affinity, and credibility, you are using your content to get the people looking at you to know, like, and trust you. Yeah. So now your content is a nurturing machine. What this also means is that if you're posting content and you're not getting the engagement that you want, it's okay.
Yeah.
100% okay.
Absolutely.
Here's a little secret that every top marketer knows and nobody teaches. Are you ready for it? The people who are the highest, most qualified people are not going to be the people who are actively engaging on your social media all the time.
Yep.
Straight up truth. What that means, though, is that you have so many people right now who are seeing your stuff behind the scenes. They're not liking it. They're not commenting. They're not doing anything. Yeah. But what is your content doing to them? It is getting your people to know you, like you, and trust you. Yeah. So the more they see you, the more they like you, the more they trust you, the closer and closer and closer that person becomes to becoming a client of yours.
That's right.
So hopefully that was helpful, because I know that overturned a lot of the questions I had in my mind. But that's just step 1. So let's say, Ariel,
yes,
they have made their post.
Okay.
And it is getting people to know, like, and trust them. What do they do next?
So step 1 is to make your post. And there's a reason that comes first. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Step number 2 is to, give me my curtain.
Curtain time.
Step number 2 is to prime. Prime. Now, what this means is to engage with your ideal clients on social media to prime the pump, so to speak, or basically to prepare your profile for maximum engagement. Now, the reason why this is so important and why you want to post first is because when it comes to social media, there's something called the organic edge rank. Edge rank just means if you make a post on social media, how many people will just organically see it? How many people will the algorithm show it to? And the organic edge rank of most social media platforms is pretty low nowadays. It's about 5%, which means if you have 100 friends on Facebook or 100 followers on Instagram, only about 5 of those people will actually see your post, right? But there's a way that you can actually take a little bit more control of that. And that's through this priming piece, essentially where, again, you're preparing your profile for maximum engagement.
What does priming look like?
Yeah. So priming looks like responding to, first of all, any engagement on your content. So you posted your content first. If you do get some people who just organically see it, comment on it, etc., you want to make sure that you respond to those people quickly, because the velocity at which you get engagement on your posts is going to increase the level that the algorithm will show your content to more people, right? So first you want to respond to any comments on your own post. But then the second part is you want to engage with, meaning like and comment on your ideal clients' posts.
Here's what's cool. Anybody listening, you already are using social media.
Yes.
You already are liking and commenting on other people's stuff.
Yeah.
So take that same authentic desire that you have to connect with other human beings, to encourage and build relationships with them, and use that same gift to engage with people on your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed who actually might be a potential great client for yours in the future. Yeah. Because how many of you guys have ever seen where if you engage with somebody or they engage with you, all of a sudden you start to see their posts more? Have any of you ever noticed that? Well, this is why. You're literally gaming the system when you do this on purpose. Yeah. And if you're listening to this and you, again, are like me, where you have a little bit of skepticism towards social media marketing, period. Yeah. And you would rather just run ads. Like, I'm with you. That used to be me for so long until I realized that I was using an outdated model in my mind. Yeah. I will tell you guys, when I had the opportunity to work alongside coaches and companies that do multiple 7 figures in revenue and above, they have teams of people who still do this to this day. If you don't believe me, I would invite you to go check out some of the top influencers on Instagram. People like Ed Milet, people like Bedros Keuilian, people like Andy Frisella. What you might notice is that they're all engaging with each other. But here's the thing. Do you guys really think that Ed Milet is on social media all day long? Do you guys really think that like he's sitting there responding to people? No.
Giving praise hands to other people's
or like those
comments?
fire emojis or all this other stuff. No. They have teams of people that are interacting because you are boosting the algorithms for each person. And this is the game that is being played. Now that we know the rules of the game, what we also want to encourage you to do is not just play the game for a transactional mindset. What I think is even more important today in a world of AI and just like fake automation and all this like just BS out there, if you could play the rules of the game, but play it in a very authentic way, it's going to allow you to stand out. So what we're not saying here is to just engage for engagement's sake. What we are saying is engage to genuinely support and compliment and encourage the people in your network to support, which then of course also leads to the higher likelihood that those people are going to see your stuff in the future. So it's not an either or, it's a both and, so to speak.
Exactly.
Like obviously it's strategic. Obviously there is a self-serving motive here. It's not all altruistic, but at the same time, like it's only helpful if you can see your feed as a grouping of people that you are called to encourage.
Yeah, exactly. And chances are the people that you most want to work with are the people that you're going to like what they're doing. You're going to support what they're doing. This is really just building relationships because people do business with people. So the more that you can commit to being genuine, and actually, if you see a post of one of your ideal clients and you actually have something to say about it, have something to say about it, whether it's supporting it, whether it's adding your 2 cents, whatever that looks like. But I would say I don't encourage people to just do the praise hands or say, love this. Leave a meaningful comment. And that's where you are going to stand out. You're going to show your ingenuity, and it's going to allow you to actually build relationships with those people that you most want to work with.
So that's step 2 of the daily flow. As a recap, step 1 is to
post.
Step 2 is to
prime.
What is step 3, Ariel, behind curtain number 3?
Step 3 is called personal outreach, or sometimes you may hear me refer to this as PO. Personal outreach or PO. This is essentially where you are having conversations with your ideal clients. Now, there is a way to do this that is different than what you probably have seen being done in the marketplace today, or has even maybe been done to you. So what tends to happen when people are just posting on social media, they're posting content. That's great, right? That was step 1. But oftentimes people are posting a lot and they still have nothing to show for it. And the reason why, kind of going back to what Kyle said, is in today's day and age, you can't just throw up a post and call it, right? So whether it's you or whether it's your team, you have to have somebody that's building real relationships with people. Of course, you can do it through your content, but adding that personal touch of actually having conversations with your ideal clients or your target market is what's going to make you not only stand above, but allow you to convert clients right now when a lot of other companies are struggling because they're not doing this. Okay. So I can tell you from personal experience, from, experience of people that we've worked with, but we have had countless clients tell us that they were so impressed that we reached out to actually talk to them directly. And it's a large part of why they became clients of ours, right? You may have seen one of our clients, Danielle. She posted inside of our Successful Couples in Business Facebook group. Her husband, Tony, is a saxophone player, and he plays, at like corporate events, weddings, things like that. And she posted in our group and she had shared that they actually tripled the number of weddings that they were able to book. They were able to hire a new team member, and that they were being paid, Tony was being paid his higher target rate. And all of this came down to this strategy here, to this whole strategy, this whole daily flow. But specifically what happened is when we started working with Danielle and Tony, she saw us using this strategy because we reached out to her personally. We made that personal connection with her. And she saw us use that strategy. She loved it. I remember her telling us that she was so impressed that we reached out to her, that she then, when we started working together, used this strategy herself, and she was able to reach those goals alongside her husband, Tony. Right? So I share this story for 2 reasons. Number 1, to show you this does work. But number 2, to also share that a lot of people feel like when they reach out and have conversations with people that they're bugging people, that they're being spammy because they've probably been on the receiving end of a spammy message where somebody sent them the next crypto opportunity. When instead, if you reach out and have real, authentic conversations with the people that you would love to work with, you will oftentimes get people thanking you for it.
When you say conversations,
Yes.
what does that mean?
Yeah. So I want to break this down into the different types of conversations and how this helps move people through the sales process. So specifically when I'm talking about personal outreach or having conversations with your target market, what this looks like is number one, initiating new conversations. So let's say somebody, accepts your friend request and becomes a new friend on Facebook, or let's say somebody follows you on Instagram. You may want to send them a message and just initiate a conversation with them. Typically, this is just like, hey, so glad that we're connected. And then asking them a relevant question about what it is that they do, maybe offering them some sort of free resource, like a podcast training that you have. For us, it's we, invite people to our Successful Couples in Business Facebook group, right? You're just initiating a conversation. And if anything, either offering value or just getting to know them better, meaning you just end on asking them a question to get to know them. Okay. So that's the first conversation that you might have, is just like that initiating conversation. The second conversation is more of a nurture conversation. This is where we like to say you're just kind of touching. And when I say touching, I mean just like touching base with messaging your qualified leads every week or two. So in general, every week or two, you just want to check in. Maybe you're going to send them some new value. Maybe you just released a new podcast episode. Maybe you are doing a training in your Facebook group. Maybe you had a live video that you did on Instagram, whatever it was. Maybe you have a free guide, whatever it is. Maybe it's just you're checking in with them, seeing how they're doing. You're sending them a new piece of value just to get them further nurtured into what it is that you do and how you can help them, and also to provide true value. And you're maybe referencing, something that you saw them post, right? Where maybe they posted something and you want to respond to that and just encourage them, right? Maybe it's you're responding to a story, a video they did, a post, whatever it is. You're just nurturing that relationship and carrying it even further. Again, this is all about building relationships online. So the second conversation is nurture conversations.
So just to pause for a second,
yes,
because I just want to make sure for me and maybe for the guy in the back that is listening to this, these are separate conversations that are being held inside of DMs, correct?
Yes, DMs
so when we
or direct messages.
Direct messages on social media. And you're saying that the very first DM conversation is to essentially just kind of initiate some sort of spark of a topic to discuss, correct?
Exactly.
And then the second time you reach out to the same person, that DM conversation is more just kind of like nurturing and building up, edifying, that sort of thing.
Exactly. So the first one, you're initiating the relationship. That's all you're doing. So that's it. That's a little bit of a back and forth conversation. You'll probably end that conversation by, again, giving them a piece of value of sorts.
Got it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Then later, you're going to nurture. You're going to touch base with them later. Again, touching base every week or two, just to see how they're doing, send them some new value, etc. Okay. Makes sense?
Absolutely. Love it.
Okay. And then the last piece of this personal outreach is, of course, you want to make some asks. Okay. So now what you want to do is, on occasion, you want to ask for sales calls. You want to ask for people to, register for an event that you're holding, a webinar that you're holding, whatever it is. So there is an ask part of this conversation. Now, of course, it's not to say that you need to, make an ask of somebody constantly. We're not pestering them. But what we are doing is, if you see an opportunity to help somebody, you simply just want to ask, hey, this is what I have that I think can help you in this regard. Is this something that you're interested in? Mm-hmm. Hey, we're having a free workshop next week that's designed to help you XYZ. And I know that's something that you were working on last week. Was this something that you'd be interested in attending? That's all it is. So now we're just reaching out and making some sort of ask. Okay. So that's the last piece of this personal outreach process, right? So you have your initiating messages where you're initiating a new relationship with somebody that's just followed you for the first time or connected with you on social media for the first time. You're nurturing that relationship by touching base with them every couple of weeks. And then eventually you're making an ask either for a call, a sales call, or to, just move further down the process of being a potential buyer of yours.
I love that you broke it down that way, because this is so different than what most DMs look like today.
Most DMs look like, hey, Kyle, I'm glad we're connected. I found this amazing new opportunity that's designed to help you make $1 million in the next 6 days. Is that something you'd want me to send over to you?
Oh my gosh. How many of us all just ignore those messages? In a world where you have so many AI bots, you have so many different messages, you have so many copy paste little things like this. Hopefully anybody listening is seeing the difference here and what is required today in today's market in order to succeed with this.
Yeah.
And basically, you know what it comes down to?
Yeah.
Being a human.
Yes.
Isn't that wild? Isn't that cool? In the world of AI, your competitive advantage is being a human. How's that for a sales strategy? It's true though, right?
Yeah.
It's 100% true. Your competitive advantage in today's market is being a human, meaning you take the time to actually show your ideal prospects that you actually care about them.
Yeah.
And when you take the time to show your prospects that you actually care about them and that you are invested in them, and then you take it one step further by actually taking time out of your day to offer something of value to that person that can enhance their life even more before you ever even think of making a request of them. Imagine how powerful that is.
Yes.
Imagine how helpful you are actually being, where the very act of you having conversations and being a human actually leads to more sales and more results and more goodwill in the marketplace.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about, y'all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So that's step number 3 is personal outreach. The last step of this 4-part process, the daily flow, is
step number 4, y'all.
Is people. This is where you are finding new people to connect with that fit your ideal target market, and you're essentially adding them. Now, when I say adding, ADDING, so adding them, this is a common vernacular like on Facebook, right? You add a friend. But this also applies to following somebody on Instagram or sending a connection request on LinkedIn or whatever it is. So you're going to find new people that fit your target market and you're going to add them. Now, I think what trips people up a lot of times in today's market is they forget that they have this heat-seeking missile for client attraction in their pocket. Now, what I mean by that is back in the day, when it came to building a business and finding ideal clients, they had to hit the phone books. They had to go door to door. They had to, if you sold to businesses, you had to go to the businesses and try to get a meeting with the person that you wanted to meet with and hope and pray that they would take your meeting with you. All of that had to be done. Versus in today's age, we have such a blessing of having this heat-seeking missile, meaning you can find, target, and what does a heat-seeking missile do?
You can lock in on the target.
Lock in, yeah,
that's
right.
Launch the missile and it just aims directly towards the target and hits
exactly.
The bullseye. Yeah.
You can find your ideal target audience on social media so quick and so much more effectively than maybe going out and having to do some of those other methods. Now, those other methods are a good addition. They do still work, but you have such an amazing gift of being able to connect with millions of people online every single day. And you can find your ideal target market just by doing a few simple things on social media. So to give you an example, we had a couple of clients who were physical therapists for dental professionals. Okay. So super cool, right? Super cool niche. And they specifically focused on ergonomics. And when they were launching this new offer, they were both very successful in their own right, but they were launching a brand new offer and they weren't sure how to find their ideal market, right? Because it's very specific. So what we started doing is, helping them find their ideal market on social media. Specifically, they were using Instagram. And so they wanted to find, how do we find dental professionals on Instagram? Well, for them specifically, and I'll give you a few examples of this, but for them specifically, that looked like on Instagram using things like hashtags or key search terms in the Instagram search bar to find dental professionals. So they started doing this and they launched a brand new business and it led to getting their first few clients just by doing this process alone. So what this may look like for you, maybe you use Instagram, maybe you use Facebook, maybe you use LinkedIn, right? There's different social media platforms, but I kind of consider those like the core 3. You're probably using at least one of those. In order for you to find your people, this looks like using relevant hashtags that your ideal clients would be using themselves.
Now, when you say relevant hashtags, what do I do on the Instagram platform to use those hashtags to actually find the people?
Yes. So what you want to do is you want to search for a specific hashtag. So for example, using our client example, they were looking for dental professionals. So they may search in the Instagram search bar, hashtag dentist life, right? Or hashtag dental hygienist. Right? Those are hashtags that their ideal clients would probably be using on their own posts because it's what they do. Maybe they have pictures of them working in the field, whatever that is. Right? So it's thinking, what are the types of hashtags that your ideal clients would be using? And then searching for those on Instagram. And when you scroll through the people using that hashtag, I like to look for faces of people. And you can click on those and that's where you're going to find this person. You can do a quick vetting of their profile and determine, is this somebody that you might want to work with? And if it is, you simply follow them on Instagram. And of course, the goal is for them to follow you back because, again, we're just building relationships. So it may look like using relevant hashtags. It may also look like just searching for key terms, meaning in Instagram, a lot of people will put key terms in their like bio section and things like that. So again, in the Instagram search bar, you could search for dental professional or dentist or dental hygienist. And, those people are going to pop up in the search results as well. Okay. So that's how to find people on Instagram. It's primarily using hashtags and search terms. On Facebook, primarily it's using Facebook groups. Groups are an amazing community of people that generally fit a certain characteristic. So if you are a health coach and you want to find busy moms, because maybe that's your ideal target market for what it is that you do, there are tons of mom groups that you can find your ideal clients in. So what you can do on Facebook is just search for, again, some key terms in the search bar under Facebook groups, and it'll pop up Facebook groups that you may want to join and use that as your opportunity to connect with people in there and just kind of look at who's posting, who's engaging, click on their profile, see if they look like somebody you might want to work with, and send them a friend request. So that's Facebook. And then lastly, on LinkedIn, if you're using LinkedIn, LinkedIn is very simple. They have an amazing search platform where you can search by profession and industry. You can search by team size, length of time they've been in business. So if you're doing more B2B and things like that, LinkedIn might be a great place for you just using the LinkedIn search platform that they have. So again, all of this is under the people piece, I'll call it, where you're just finding your ideal target market online and you're adding them. And adding them just looks like sending them a friend request, following them, or sending them a connection request, depending on the platform that you're on. Now, what this is doing is this is building your audience. Right? It's not enough to just throw up a post and expect people to come follow you. That does happen sometimes, and that will happen on occasion, but you actually get to take the power into your own hands and go find the people that you want to work with and build a real relationship with them. And then once you do this, guess what happens? This whole process builds on each other. Because now if you've connected with somebody new online, let's say you've followed somebody on Instagram, they look at your profile and they're going to determine if they want to follow you back. And they don't have to. They have complete agency over whether or not they want to be connected to you. But if they do, chances are they have a reason to want to be connected to you. And now when you post, your newly connected followers are going to see your posts generally first. So then once they see your post, guess what? They're either going to comment on that post or you're going to go comment on their stuff. And they're going to come back to your profile and they're going to see more of your posts. And then maybe you reach out to them and you say, hey, thank you so much for connecting on Instagram here. Glad that we're connected. I'm looking forward to getting to know you better. Here's a free guide on this in case you're interested. And now you're sending that personal outreach message. And now you're building that connection. You're building that relationship even further.
Just to kind of bring this all home, somebody might be listening to this and thinking, man, that sounds good. I can see how that works. And it makes sense. But I don't have that much time during the day to do all this. Like I can't be on social media all day. I don't want to be. I know this could work, but how do I do this with a busy schedule? So what would you say to that?
100%. This process can be done in 1 hour per day.
Yeah.
1 hour. That's it.
You can probably even do it less than that.
You can do it.
Honestly, like 20 minutes.
Yeah. You can do it in less time. You can do it in as much time as you have. Specifically, I told you earlier about my client, Heather, who I worked with, and she was able to build a 7-figure business on this process alone. And with that, for her specifically, in the beginning, she only had about 30 minutes. That was what she was doing at first. It was about 30 minutes. So what she started doing was she took 30 minutes and she divided it by 4-ish, these 4 Ps. And she broke up her 30 minutes into putting, a little less than 10 minutes to this, a little less than 10 minutes to each P in the daily flow. So you can break it up into whatever time you have allotted for this. Now, what I would suggest is people put at least 1, if not 2 hours to this per day, whether it's you or a team member. Mm-hmm. We work with tons of clients, and we also have lots of colleagues that do this same process, but they have team members who do it. And it doesn't mean that you have to pretend to be somebody that you're not on social media. A lot of the people that we work with, they have a team member that actually goes out and connects with people and freely tells people that they're a part of so-and-so's team and they're, connecting and wanted to send some value and wanted to get to know them better. So whether it's you doing this or your team doing this, I recommend everybody does this to consistently bring in sales from social media on a daily basis.
So whether you have 1 hour, 15 minutes,
Yes.
5 minutes, 2 hours to dedicate towards generating leads and clients using social media, you can use this 4-step process, which is step 1,
Post,
step 2,
prime,
step 3,
personal outreach,
step 4.
people.
You do that, you can put yourself in the position to generate highly qualified leads using this heat-seeking missile that we have, which is your cell phone. How cool is it to be in a day and age where, as long as you have an internet connection and access to social media, you could hand select your next client. At the best case scenario, the people you're connecting with will become clients of yours over time as they get to see and love you for what you're sharing of yourself on social media. Worst case scenario, you are providing value and you are giving and impacting lives of people who are in your feed. So either way, it is a complete win-win. And I also want to share from my perspective, coming from the paid advertising world, everything Ariel just said can actually make or break your success on the advertising front as well. So if you're listening to this and you're like, you know what, Kyle and Ariel, you guys posted a really cool video on YouTube that's all about how to make paid advertising profitable. I think I want to do that instead of this. I think I want to do paid advertising and just skip the social media marketing. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm here because I love you and I care about all of you and I want you all to be successful. The quality of your social media marketing drastically increases the results that you get from your paid advertising.
And drastically decreases your advertising costs.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Real example, a couple years ago, we spent more money in ads than we have ever spent up until that point of our business. And we were running ads to a workshop. And this workshop performed so much worse than every other workshop we have done up until that point. Meaning we spent, I think, 18 grand and we made about 16 grand. So to speak. It was like right around there. And in fact, we might have broke even now that I'm thinking back on it. But even still, if we spend 16 grand and we make 16 grand, yes, we might have broke even, but to us, that's considered a loss.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, we couldn't figure out why this workshop was not as profitable as the other ones. Well, here's what we found out. We had an assistant that was working with us at the time that was supposed to be doing a lot of this stuff that Ariel just talked about. And she was telling us that she was doing the stuff, but come to find out she actually didn't do any of it. And so what that means is that all of the paid advertising efforts that we were doing were not working because we didn't have somebody that was actually taking the time to personally reach out and nurture and connect with the leads that we were generating. That was a huge difference. So guess what? Once we discovered that, we're like, okay, social media marketing, organic marketing, it always must be a mandatory part of our process going forward. And ever since we decided that, we, by the glory of God, because it's also by his grace, we have not had a launch that hasn't been profitable since.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the only difference during that launch.
Yeah.
Meaning we combed through that sucker to try to find the reason that it didn't work as well as the other launches had. And turns out it was because this piece wasn't happening. This organic marketing, this social media marketing piece wasn't actually happening. People weren't getting that relationship built. And again, in today's day and age, I just want to kind of end on this last piece. It is more important than ever to build real relationships with the people that you want to work with.
100%.
The need for trust between who people are buying from has increased. With AI, with people throwing up courses based on AI building it out for them and they don't even know what they're talking about. You know, there's so many things out there these days that people are seeing that's decreasing their trust in who's out there that they could potentially buy from. So it's more important for every business to increase the level of trust that they're building with people. And how do you do that? You build that know, like, and trust factor. You care about people. You show them that you care, and you build a real relationship that actually makes them want to buy from you when that time comes around, right? And when you do this process consistently, you will start to see sales coming in monthly, weekly, daily even, because you have a social media machine that is bringing new people in, it's nurturing those people, and it's making those asks that's getting people to sign up for a call with you or to do whatever that next step is that they can potentially become a new buyer of yours. So I just want to end on, in today's day and age, This is so important. Don't write this off. And this is your ability to take the power of your sales into your own hands or put it in your team's hands and not just be reliant on the flippant algorithms on, what's happening with email these days and all these different things. You have the opportunity to actually connect with people and turn them from strangers into clients very, very quickly.
And if between you and your partner, if you are the one that is responsible for social media, you put this process into place and you run the play consistently, doing the 4 Ps every single day, whether it's 1 hour or 5 minutes or 2 hours, you will look like an absolute hero to your partner.